Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. It is News Done Differently. It is the 12th day of April, 10:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, thank you for watching. We begin tonight with a report of severe weather and severe weather to come. Numerous tornadoes reported today from Texas up to Iowa, including in Arkansas. And this is what the threat is going to look like for tomorrow. The incredibly large dark red band in the middle, oval in the middle, is very likely to have severe storms, including tornadoes. And a possibility exists from Green Bay, Wisconsin, all the way down to Houston, Texas. So a massive storm system coming tomorrow. Also, if you happen to be watching and you live in the Northwest, you could see snow tomorrow, and in some cases, blizzard conditions, especially possible in Montana, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin. And then back behind this, where there are some really dry areas, the flow of moisture has been pretty much where you see it now for the past few days. So there are some very dry areas back here behind this, and with the winds and with the possibility of lightning strikes, there's always the possibility of wildfires coming in the back of this. So I'm not sure what the actual weather people are saying about this, but this is one of those storms that could be very intense on a number of different levels. As I said, possibly blizzards up to the north, tornadoes, and even if you're not getting tornadoes, you're going to in this area, you're going to get blasted by 70 to 90 mile an hour straight line winds. Okay, this is a pretty intense system that's going to be coming through. It's going to be coming through in two stages: a morning system, and then a more powerful system in the afternoon. So if you're in Indiana, from about 8 o'clock, and as of right now, about 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock tomorrow night, there are going to be the possibility of severe storms. And when the first line of storms comes through, if it comes through and it comes through fast, no matter where you're at, anywhere on this line, if that first line of storms comes through and it comes through fast, that is not a good thing. That's going to leave a gap to where possible sunshine breaks out. Sunshine's not going to be a good thing tomorrow, because all that sun is going to do is create energy that's going to feed the second system that comes through. So if the first system lingers for a while and there's some cloud cover the majority of the day, the storms in the evenings won't be as intense, possibly. Okay, but if you're anywhere in this massive area, you know what? I just thought about this. That includes a massive number of people from Chicago. These are big cities: Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Detroit, Nashville. Louisville's going to be in there. Little Rock, Arkansas, Houston, New Orleans, Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of people potentially could be impacted by this. And so I want to make you aware it's going to be coming if you live in that area. And, there's always the possibility of major, like I said, 70 to 90 mile an hour straight line winds should be expected tomorrow in these areas. Not everywhere, but if you're in these areas, those are possibilities. So be weather aware coming up for tomorrow. So again, thank you for watching. If you're just joining us, it's News Done Differently. And I want to start out with this. The reason I'm starting out with this is because this is on the surface, boycott groomers with a Disney logo. That in itself is bad enough. I mean, we're in a crazy world. There are people in this country that are just, I don't know. I do know, but if you look right down here in the bottom, okay, let's widen this out just a little bit. Let's look a little bit bigger. Bring ammo. I don't know about you, but the first thing that came to my mind was they're trying to get somebody to shoot up Disney. It's not a good thing. And this guy, Jack Postovic, he's a major fascist. I said just a couple of seconds ago, I don't know what's going on in this world. I don't know what's going on in this country. I do. What is happening is in our past, and I'm not talking about our country's past. I'm talking about those of us that are watching this in our individual pasts. Some of us grew up before there was an internet. Some of us grew up in a time where you could be taught that this is how things were. Now we live in a truly information age. And now we can learn what really happened. Now we can learn what is really happening. And while it's a great thing to be able to communicate, I'm just absolutely blown away. I'm amazed that on this show, I did an interview with Stephanie in India, and Stephanie is hearing impaired, and yet halfway around the world we communicated with each other, and that's the great side of this. The bad side is we now know the evil that's in the world. It's always been there, but it was easier to either shield yourself or be shielded from it before we had what we have now. And be thankful for these times that we can get together. I am. I'm not feeling very good. I got really sick last night. I had my second shingles vaccine, and I think I had some reactions last night, so I haven't been feeling the greatest today. And I wasn't going to do this at all, but there's things that have to be talked about, and things that there's things in the news, and that's what this is: news done differently. But the internet has allowed us to both do great things. I was part of exposing a secret Chinese mission to send military arms to Serbia. So we've done a lot of good things. I was in a meeting, and an online meeting. I was in a meeting, and somebody said, the supplies are bottlenecked in Lviv, that there's a bunch of supplies are coming in to Ukraine, not that more aren't needed, but that they're getting bottlenecked at Lviv. And in the meeting, it wasn't, just like it automatically transitioned into how can we remotely create a supply chain to get these, especially ammunition and medical supplies, where they need to go. So the internet can be great, and the internet can also be horrific, and it can show us that what we would like to believe and uh, what we are facing sometimes are really different things. For the past few days, I've been telling you that I felt like something was happening in China, and that something was happening in China, and that let me get this up. Um, it's kind of confusing, the things I was starting to see out of China, and more things are starting to come out now. It started because I was announcing that the the coronavirus rate in Shanghai, it went up to like 19,000, and then it went up to like 22,000, 23,000, 24. Today it's 26,000 cases of COVID in Shanghai in one day. So that's almost 250,000 people in the last 5 days in China, in just one city in China, that supposedly have a mild form of COVID. Okay, that's what China is telling the world. What's actually going on there is that every citizen of China, or every citizen of Shanghai, all 26 million of them, are forced to have a vaccination, or I'm sorry, a COVID test every day. Um, this is one. This is another. And again, it's really, even though the internet is everywhere, um, getting things from some places is not easy. We don't get a lot from North Korea except underground. We don't get a lot from China except like this, underground. And now it's the same way with Russia. I show you things that mainstream media doesn't. And also, I want to say this. Last in the last episode, I got a little um, emotional because I felt like um, the United States could be doing more, and part of the reason for that is I'm like a day or two ahead. Okay, um, I'm seeing things that are happening like minutes, hour after they've happened, and not in the case of what we're watching now, of course, but in a lot of situations. And it takes a day or two for the media, for the government, for for the information to be processed, to go through the channels. And so um, I'm hopeful that what we saw in here last night, and what made me question what was being done by our government, hopefully um, those steps will be made after they find the information out. Okay, so I'm rambling there, but this is a Q, um, QUE, that is winding around as people are waiting to get tested. I'm going to go through this next part pretty quick. In China, in Shanghai, China, right now, as we speak, every person is tested, and those that refuse are immediately taken away. If you're if you are one that gets a positive test, you are taken to a containment center and your pets are killed. And you stay at a containment center for an unspecified amount of time. China is building containment centers all around the country. I'm concerned because this is one of two things, one of three things actually. China's telling the truth and they're really trying to wipe out even mild COVID because that's the thing they say, all these cases are mild. They've only had one severe case out of 26 million people, but yet mandatory testing. And yes, if you test positive, they kill your pets. And again, I'm going to go through this pretty quick. This is, we've shown the food riots. There are people that think this is an intentional disaster, that they are trying to limit the population, so to speak, or to lessen the population of China. And there are those that say, that it's not only China, it's going to be everybody, every country around the world is going to be doing this because we just have way too many people and the rich people can't have enough resources with as many people as we have. But it does make us question all this food. And again, there are people that are fighting for food over there. We've shown that. I'm going to run through this next part pretty quick. And if you are at all, viewer discretion is advised. They are killing their pets. That's just, and don't go, oh my God, that's just one example. Could have been, no. They are killing their pets. If you test positive for COVID in Shanghai, China, you will go to a containment center where you will be in a small containment area with possibly one other person. All the bathrooms, all the showers, everything else is outside. You're there for an unspecified amount of time and you are not retested and you are not treated. And I expect in a day or so to have more video of people laying there waiting to die. I've seen the first one of those, but we need to keep an eye on China because I said earlier, it's one of three things. I just had to get through those videos real quick. And you might say, well, you didn't have to show them. And no, I didn't. But if I didn't show them, you wouldn't believe it. Okay. Because I didn't believe it when I was first told. It's one of three things. Either China's telling the truth and they are trying to eliminate COVID totally by taking a zero COVID policy. And we know we've been, if you're just joining us, if you haven't watched an episode yet, we've talked about this over the past few days. They've been on a complete lockdown for at least 2 weeks in Shanghai. And people were hanging out the balconies of their 30-story apartments, screaming. and I've seen some other videos that are just horrific of what happens to people that won't go get vaccinated. But I can only handle so much traumatic stuff a day, and I want people to keep watching this. And I don't. This isn't. I said it a lot. This is, and I haven't said it for a long time, but this is my dad and I used to go to the races, go to automobile races, and we went to watch the racing to appreciate the speed, the skill, the mechanical abilities, whereas other people go to the races to watch a wreck, to wait for a wreck. And this program has always been. It's not about the wreck. Okay, so that we don't. I don't want to overly gore anything. Gore, gore, not GOAR. Or is it GO? Anyway, a third woman has emerged with claims she's been threatened and stalked by GOP candidate Herschel Walker. Donald Trump endorsed Walker, who's a former NFL player, and in 2020, not 25 years ago, 2 years ago, he was holding a gun to the head of his ex-wife when police talked him out of his house. You can Google that if you want. Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin from New York, a Democrat, has resigned just hours after surrendering to federal authorities on charges in a quid pro scheme. According to the indictment, the former state senator is accused of steering a $50,000 grant to a charity run by Harlem real estate developer Gerald Migdol, and he did so in exchange for campaign contributions, including a number of donations fraudulently given in the names of other people. Russia is this is a report that originated from the United States State Department. Russia is planning terrorist attacks on its own territory in the occupied Crimea in order to blame Ukraine for them, to boost anti-Ukrainian hysteria. That's not how the State Department put it out. But the head of Ukraine's defense intelligence said today, Belgrade and cities in Crimea can be bombed from the air. And again, this is one of those fog of war kind of things where when all this happens, when Crimea does get bombed, when the Belgorod region of Russia does get bombed, it will be both sides blaming the other for doing it. Last night, I mentioned George Orwell, American writer, and I mentioned 1984. And one of his lines in 1984 was, war is peace, ignorance is power, and I forget what the middle one is. But he also wrote Animal Farm, and all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So if you've never been one to read books, I recommend you get some books, because there might be times where we're going to be without power for 3 days, 7 days, 10 days. I think Puerto Rico was supposed to get power back. They've been out for 7 to 10 days down there because of a generator fire. Get a George Orwell book. Get a John Steinbeck. book. Get a book of poetry, just a book of poetry. And I've got 3 books, by the way. And I've been thinking about, while I'm on it, I've been thinking about doing an audio version of my book, only just basically reading it here. I might put it on like a a pay site that you have to pay like $2 or something to go on and hear it. I don't know. I might just read it out, or part of it anyway, at some point. But anyway, think about getting you some books. You go to a used bookstore, and for $10, you can probably pick up 4, maybe 5 books. And again, look for something from George Orwell. Look for something from John Steinbeck. Studs Terkel was another author I used to like reading. But anyway, you might find yourself in a situation, and a good book is always a good way to pass time. It's like when you read a book, a story. It's like you're having a dream when you're awake. Okay, you're seeing this new world and these new characters and maybe even new language. And wouldn't hurt anybody to read more. That's all I'm saying. But that doesn't mean don't watch. Don't watch. It just means wouldn't hurt everybody. Wouldn't hurt everybody to read more. This is Boeing Turner, convicted rapist Boeing Turner. We talked about him when all of this happened, and that he was released because the judge didn't want to ruin his life over one incident of raping a girl. Turner has over 50 violations of his house arrest conditions, but if he follows the rules of probation, he won't be registered as a sex offender. He won't serve a day in prison after sexually forcing himself onto multiple young women in South Carolina. So, just something to think about. Need to bring this up so we can see the entire thing here. Yeah, there we go. Well, okay. That'll work. I hope you can read this. I guess that's as big as I'm going to be able to enlarge it. 1 week before an angry mob stormed the Capitol, a communications expert named Jason Sullivan, who was an aide to Roger Stone, joined a conference call with a group of President Donald J. Trump's supporters and made an urgent plea. After assuring his listeners that the 2020 election had been stolen, Mr. Sullivan told them that they had to go to Washington on January 6, 2021, the day that Congress was to descend on the Capitol, or the day that Congress was to meet to finalize the electoral count, and they had to, quote, descend on the Capitol. This is all according to phone records that New York Times has obtained. Mr. Sullivan claimed that he was, quote, not inciting violence or any kind of riots, end quote. He urged those on the call to make their presence felt at the Capitol in a way that would intimidate members of Congress, telling the group that they had to ensure that lawmakers inside the building, quote, understand that people are breathing down their necks, end quote. He also pledged that Mr. Trump was going to take action on his own. The president, he said, was going to impose a form of martial law on January 6th and would not be leaving office. That's the important thing to the whole article. Department of Justice rebuffs Democrats' request for an inventory of Trump's boxes of the it says 15 boxes of White House documents, top secret documents, but it sure looks like a lot more than 15 to me. But anyway, the Democrats wanted to get a hold of this to politicize it, to, counter Hunter Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They wanted to get a hold of that, get a hold of this to, take the heat off of Hunter Biden's laptop. But the Department of Justice said, no, you're not going to politicize this. This is criminal and treasonous potentially. And we're not going to let it be a political witch hunt. Do it based on justice, not on politics. Like I said, I haven't been feeling the greatest, and I'm trying to keep this short tonight. I've got a thing I want to play by Jon Stewart, and I got a couple of things actually I want to play by Trevor Noah, and I'm going to do those probably tomorrow. I might do them during the day as a special episode because I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to make the usual for 45, 50 cents an episode I make from doing these because they're going to be copyright. But they were the Jon Stewart one is on race relations, and I was going to play this video I'm about to play for you after playing that one. There's a little white boy in this video, and well, I'll just play the video and we'll talk about why I think it matters. Okay, we don't have audio. All right. Let me run it back. Little boy over here in the corner is about to take a drink out of a bottle of water, and for some reason he's got the cap to the bottle in his hand. He puts it in his before taking the drink. He gets the cap stuck in his throat. Teacher doesn't hesitate. Well trained, compassionate. She also happens to be from the Black community. And the purpose of this is just to remind everybody once again that we are one race, the human race. And we're going to have to remind a certain segment of the population that Black lives matter. Yeah, all lives matter, of course. But there's a certain segment of the population that has to be reminded specifically that Black lives matter. Right? It doesn't matter about the pigment of the skin. All lives matter. But again, we're going to have to, I just have a feeling this summer, we're going to have to remind people that the Black lives matter too. And it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't, we need to be humane, human beings, being humane. And because I said the other day being human, and somebody wrote me and said, being human is not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes humanity does horrible things. And that's very, very true. So a human being being humane. Russia has fired on and detained a Turkish-managed general cargo ship in claims was attempting a rescue mission in this devastated city in Ukraine, Mariupol, and they were trying to get supplies in. France, Turkey, and I think it was Greece, the three that were trying to put something together, and Turkey went ahead and tried it on its own, and Russia stopped them. Defense attorney Samuel H. Shemansky told jurors that Dustin Thompson was vulnerable to Donald Trump's garbage lies about the stolen election. Quote, Donald Trump encouraged people like Dustin Thompson to storm the Capitol, end quote. He says, adding Thompson was used and abused by Trump, quote, end quote. A lot of that is going to be in the defense of the people that took part in that. And a lot of that's true. A lot of people that took part in that are realizing that, whoa, he conned us into serving him, which is not a surprise for a conservative. Conservatism is based, they try to tell you it's based on freedom, but yet just be real and think about all the things they really want to ban. Not a lot of freedom there except for guns, It's only, and my situation and my stance on that. But there's more to America than just guns, okay? The idea behind conservatism is to keep the top at the top and to keep everyone else down. It's just, it has nothing to do with family values and yoppity yoppity yop. It's about power, is all it is. And in the Democratic Party, it's about power too. However, Democrats do occasionally propose things that help people. And most of the time they get voted out by Republicans. Again, this is a backup for a second source. Ukraine warns of a Russian terrorist attack on its own territory, a red flag situation. We had the lieutenant governor, the Democrat lieutenant governor of New York, South Dakota Attorney General has been impeached over fatal crash and refusing to resign. You can look up this guy's name, Jason Ravnsborg. This is him. They're not telling you the whole story, not even close in a headline. He killed a man, then left the scene, killed a man with his car, left the scene, and then joked the next day, well, at least the guy was a Democrat. Just saying, there are differences, and now with the internet, we can see evil, and evil is much more powerful, but in peaceful and political, in positive ways, trying to be a light, just trying to be a good person, be a light, be a good person. I still believe there are more of us than there are of them. There are many dark souls. There are soulless people. And that's why I can't say human, because they are human as far as we know. But there are people that power is the only thing that matters, individual power, because they don't have a soul or a conscience or a grasp of anything else. They can't have anything else. And it's dangerous. And they're willfully exposing themselves as such, and weak people who feel like they got to be a part of something gravitate towards this. And by talking about it, exposing it. Maybe some people will realize it. Um, Also, I mentioned Blinken earlier. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, he also said credible information that Russia may use chemical agents against Ukrainian troops and civilians. We already reported they did that yesterday morning. Trump's rally in North Carolina drew less than 2,000 people. Finally, a story that broke early this morning. There was a shooting in a subway in New York City, and it's presumed to be a non-terrorist event, is what the law enforcement was saying. Commercial firecrackers and but also what you're not seeing here was gasoline in a container and the fuse down here. There was a gun with 3 extended clips and a hatchet found at the site. Someone entered the subway somewhere beforehand and rode to right before the Central Park exit, put on a gas mask, opened 2 smoke containers, and then started shooting people. And it's an ongoing investigation, and it's an ongoing story, and we will talk a lot more about it tomorrow. This is a quote from a pollster who happened to be at the bipartisan gathering at the Gridiron Club. Many of Washington, D.C.'s elite got COVID. Said, I don't know a single Republican who was surprised by what Sununu said. And Sununu, we quoted that the night of that Gridiron dinner. He said that, would he say Trump was crazy? No, he wouldn't say that. But if Trump was in an insane asylum, they wouldn't let him out. And everybody laughed. He says, I don't know a single Republican who was surprised by what Sununu said. He said what they are thinking, Lutz said to the Daily Beast. They won't say it in public, but behind his back, they think he's a child. They're laughing at him. Well aware of that. And again, it's kind of like a volcano. It just, the more pressure that builds, eventually it explodes. That's what's going to happen with this guy. You know, I showed the rally the other night, the Roger Stone rally, where there were like 3 rows of eight chairs in each row. And he had less than 2,000 people at the rally we showed last on Saturday. And word is getting to him that things are tightening up legally on many different fronts, and that the Republican Party is laughing at him behind his back. The rhinos, as they call them. So the tighter the noose gets, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either he's going to pop like a volcano, or he's going to try to escape and get away from the United States and live his life somewhere, allow him to do so, which could get very interesting if he takes that route. Which reminds me, I said one of 2 things. I didn't finish the Shanghai, China. What's going on in Shanghai, China? One of 3 things. China's either telling the truth and they're trying to eliminate the virus. They're trying to cull their population using a virus as an excuse for disappearing people. Remember, China, up until not long ago, had a mandatory you could only have one child. And they were preferring male children. So the evil, the internet exposes as well as the good. So the three things, either they're trying to totally get rid of COVID by doing a lockdown and hope it works. They're not telling us the truth about what's really happening. It's not really COVID, or if it's a COVID, it's an incredibly transmissible, because there 26,000 people are getting it a day and they're on lockdown. 26,000 people a day are getting it and they're on lockdown. That doesn't add up to me. I don't know. So either they're really just trying to get everybody as soon as they can and get them isolated and get it over, while killing their pets, because pets don't get COVID. And get those images in my head. They're trying to kill off their population by disappearing them into a system where they go to a containment center and then are never heard of again. Or there's a really bad disease that is going on in Shanghai right now, where 26,000 people are getting it a day. And China doesn't want to get blamed for it again. So they're trying to cover it all up and aren't telling the truth. It's one of those three things, I believe. I could be wrong. There could be other options. A class action lawsuit's been filed by an investor in Trump World's Let's Go Brandon meme coin. It was a pump and dump scheme that defrauded investors. Basically, a bunch of people invested in a Bitcoin that was called Let's Go Brandon. Let's Go Brandon is code for fuck Joe Biden. Okay, in case you didn't know that yet. So when you see a Let's Go Brandon sign, you know how, you know what they're saying. So a bunch of people invested money, a bunch of QAnon people invested a bunch of money in this. And the guy that started it all took all the money, and the value of it is now 99% from where it was when it first took off. Again, this is an intercepted phone call from a Russian soldier in Ukraine to his significant other back home. And it does have subtitles.
Так, ты давай, да. Украинских баб насилуй, да, мне ничего не говори, понятно? Я сегодня
попросила тебе ничего не говорить?
Да, что я ничего не знала. А что?
Можно, да?
Okay, I wanted to play without saying anything. Yes, that is a woman in Russia telling her husband that I give you my permission to rape the Ukrainian women. Just make sure you use protection.
Так, ты давай, да. Украинских баб насилуй, да, мне ничего не говори, понятно? Я сегодня
попросила тебе ничего не говорить?
Да, что я ничего не знала. А что?
Можно, да?
Да, разрешаю. Только предохраняйте.
Хорошо.
Так, давай, да. Українських баб насилують.
Yeah, we got it. Just something to think about. That's the one before the translation. In other Ukrainian news, Zelensky's official Telegram account announced that their secret service, the SBU, caught the fugitive oligarch and Putin's close friend, Viktor Medvichek, dressed in Ukrainian camouflage. This is who Putin was going to put. He looks a little bit like my older brother. This is who Putin was going to put in charge of the puppet government had they successfully assassinated Zelensky. So it's a pretty big deal that he was captured and captured in a special operations mission. So let me get this straight. Herschel Walker held a loaded gun to his wife's head and said, "I'm going to blow your brains out." Effing brains, by the way. But he's leading in the Georgia polls as the pro-life and family values candidate. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier said that he was ready to visit Kyiv together with the leaders of the 3 Baltic states, but was told he's not welcomed. Germany keeps buying oil and gas from Russia, and it's costing Russia about $20 billion a day to fight this war, and they're bringing in about $3 billion a day still in European oil and gas. So, and plus they haven't been sending a whole lot of ammunition or weapons. Germany hasn't. So this could create a potential problem. And I'm just going to touch on it real quick here. As long as my laptop doesn't overheat. Sounds like it's starting to. It smells like it's starting to. Real quickly, if Germany, we already know Hungary is pro-Putin. Hungary won't let any arms or aid flights go over their airspace. And we know that China's sending missiles to Serbia. We know that now because a retired Army Air Force general and I watched them begin to do it. So if these two and Germany, if Germany decides to sit this out, you see how massive Germany is. If Serbia, Hungary, and Germany sits out, it would basically create a buffer for Russia to have direct shot at Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, and attempt to reestablish the former USSR. So we need to watch Germany and what happens with the German-Ukrainian relations over the next few days, because it could be truly significant. If Germany decides to sit this out, France will probably sit it out. Italy might sit it out. United Kingdom, I think they're ready for a fight. Poland is definitely ready for a fight. The Baltics are getting there. Sweden and Finland. Sweden and Finland, or Norway and Finland, I'm sorry, are considering NATO. memberships. So what happens in Germany, what happens in France over the next few days, because France is under presidential election, we just have to be aware of what's going on over there. And because what happens over there will eventually impact us here. Fox News has a trial that begins April 23rd, a jury trial in the Dominion voting system $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit, accusing Fox News of trying to boost its ratings by falsely claiming the voting machine company rigged the 2020 U.S. presidential election against former President Donald Trump. Again, I don't understand how they can keep saying that this was rigged when if it was rigged, honestly, you think if it was rigged, Roy Bobbitt, Madison Cawthorn, Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you think these people would have won if Democrats rigged it? Seriously? You think, oh, we're going to let these batshit crazy people in, but we're not going to let Trump. But yet, anyway, I'm sorry about saying batshit too. Anyway, that trial is going to start. Fox asked for it to be postponed until sometime after November of 2024, and that petition was denied. So they're going to be going to trial about a year from now, which I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly my idea of speedy justice, but either the last episode or the episode before last, we showed a massive convoy coming into the Donbass region, a massive Russian convoy. Well,
Zobacz, widzisz? To są niemieckie.
This is in Poland.
Na Ukrainę pewnie jadą, wiesz? O. Widziałeś?
These are all United States heavy
O,
armor.
ile ich jedzie. Zobacz, widzisz?
So the borders of the NATO countries, the eastern borders, the eastern front borders of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are going to be more heavily fortified over the next 7 to 10 days. Look for that to happen. And Belarus, right here, a satellite, a puppet, if you will, of Russia. The president of Belarus and Putin both had a meeting today at the Russian equivalent of NASA. And while that was going on, a couple of things were announced. It was announced that, none of this was, Russia doesn't want war. Russia was forced into this, had no chance, no choice but to do this. And, they're just trying to help people and the same old thing. But what was really going on there was one of two things. Either Putin was saying to Belarus that you need to become actively part of this, or we are going to actively overthrow Belarus, and we will make you part of this. So look for things happening in the north of the northern border of Ukraine with Belarus. Look for things possibly happening. We showed you one of the border crossings in Poland and Belarus claiming that Poland had shelled them, and actually the guy just shined a flashlight across the fence. And then finally, while we have the map out, not a lot of people are paying attention to this. I'm not even sure the military's got this yet. They probably do from satellites if they're looking up there, but so much of the focus is down here. Russia has moved troops and also moved surface to air defense and land to sea defense along the border with Finland. So while we see all this equipment moving in, you think, my gosh, what are they going to do with all of it? Things could possibly kick off on a more significant and wider scale over the next 7 to 10 days, basically depending on what happens over the next 2 to 3 days when the full-scale Russian onslaught begins. And again, last night I was like, give them the MiGs, give them whatever they need to do this. If we're not going to, actively participate, don't just let them lose. So the United States, they were listening and says it will not object to Slovakia's potential transfer of MiG jets to Ukraine. The Russian TV station, while everybody else is going, well, we're not really sure if it was because that's a red line supposedly for us. Russian TV hasn't had a problem saying, yeah, they did a chemical attack on Mariupol. So again, I'm a day or two ahead. So the stuff we're talking about tonight, look for that coming up in the regular news cycle. Marjorie Taylor Greene told Newsweek that joining the military is, quote, throwing your life away, end quote. Again, they tell you they're the party of America and we love our troops and blah 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 blah. She's got a problem because she's been stripped of all of her committees, so she doesn't really have anything to do. And she doesn't read any of the bills that she signs into law or she votes on to go into law. She just, how should I vote on this? So she has a lot of time to talk to a lot of different people. And I said a couple of weeks ago, the more these people talk, the more things are just going to come out. They're going to accidentally slip out, and we're going to learn a lot of things, and we have. Talked about Pakistan. And again, hop back over here to the map real quick. And wait a minute. There we go. Hop back over here to the map real quick and center up Pakistan a little bit. Pakistan had a no confidence vote in their prime minister on Sunday, and he was ousted from office. Massive demonstration in the city, and a new prime minister that is more pro-West leaning has taken the prime minister's seat, and there are two sides, as with many situations. We talked about Afghanistan is ready in case Pakistan attacks them because of instability. India is ready because Pakistan is weak in India's eyes. India has always had a decent relationship with Russia and with China, and they have a bit more of a confrontational relationship with China, but it doesn't mean that they are thinking about going to war with China. Much more of a possibility of them going to war with Pakistan. All right. So Iran, Iraq, Israel right over here in the corner. Holy Week is going on. This is Holy Tuesday of Holy Week, Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday, Holy Wednesday, or Spy Wednesday. Monday, Thursday. Thursday's the day of the Last Supper. And then for some reason it's called Good Friday, even though Friday is the celebration or the recognition, I like to say instead of celebration, of the crucifixion of Jesus. And then Black Saturday, which, you know, the dissension, Jesus goes down into hell and conquers the devil. And then on Sunday, the ascension, when he arises. So all that's going on this week. And there's a massive amount of confrontation going on between Palestinians and Israelis. And there's more and more concern among Israel, and especially some Israel forces, that they're taking their spirituality away. That they're trying to make the Israeli forces less Jewish, if you will, not letting them have Bibles, trying to dissuade Christians. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that is for those that believe in the those that believe in Christianity. The revelation of Jesus Christ, the last book of Revelation, says that Jerusalem shall be the center of the battle to end all battles. And I've got an episode coming up, you know, when I get feeling a little stronger, I'm going to put that together. I may wait till after Easter Sunday, since we're in Holy Week, to finish that series out. Sorry, got on a little tangent there. Let's wrap things up here. Alleged militants ambushed Pakistani troops in South Waziristan, triggering an intense shootout. 2 militias were killed. 2 Pakistani soldiers were also killed. That happened about 10 hours ago. That's why I went to the map, show you where Pakistan is in relation to everything else, because I think things might heat up in Pakistan. And the more things heat up in various places, the more chance there is for somebody to do something stupid and dominoes start falling and suddenly you know, Pandora's box is open, if you will, and or the cat's out of the bag, or whatever euphemism you want to use. A lot of hot spots around the world, and we're just going to keep an eye on them. This was our first, actually, this was our second or third look at what was going on in New York this morning. If I'd have felt better, I'd have jumped on with the breaking news, but I really was not feeling well. I went through a period last night or early this morning where I was shaking and I could not get warm. And I went through 2 of those, and then I was sweating and could not get cool. So anticipated a reaction from the second shingles vaccine. Good news is I won't get shingles. This was the video from come on, let me. This is a video from just as the train pulls into the station, the Central Park station. This is the car behind where it was happening. There are still people on the subway car. 10 people total shot, 5 of them serious, and 29 people total injured. So they do have a person of interest in this shooting, and we'll have more about that tomorrow. The U.S. has been unable to comment or confirm reports that Russia's bringing military equipment to its border from Finland. So, okay, the U.S. does know then. Another rocket and machine gun attack on Pakistan Army in Karahan. Two powerful explosions reported. So 2 separate incidents in Pakistan. And this is quite possibly the last video that some of these people will be on. These are Ukrainian Marines that are inside Mariupol and basically surrounded. This is the group that was hit by the chemical weapons attack yesterday.
Українці мають пам'ятати ціну всього супротиву і довершити справу і стояти перемогу до кінця. До кінця. Так. Україна, Європа, світ. З вірою в перемогу. Ми вірні завжди, вірні до кінця. Українці.
The reason I say this might be the last time we see them on video,
в морську піхоту і продовжує вірити в морську піхоту. Вірити в морську піхоту. На цій вірі ми протримались так довго. Ми не залишили своїх позицій, ми залишилися вірними завжди і залишаємося вірними завжди. Слава Україні! Героям слава! Героям слава!
I've been communicating with several people since all this started, and some of them on the front lines, as you know. And one of them was a guy that went by the name Johnny, and Johnny's there, and Johnny said in a message, I'm not going to show you, but he said basically a message that we're out of food, we're out of ammunition, we fought till the last, and I'll be either dead or a prisoner tomorrow. So things are grim in Mariupol, as we know they are. We've seen the theater bomb, the hospital bomb, the drone footage of the city decimated. What he said in the video, we, the fighters in the video, are grateful to every Ukrainian who believes in the Marines and continues to believe. We have held on to this position for so long in this faith and have always remained faithful. So possibly saying their last goodbyes. I definitely hope not. But I try to have something amusing or not so heavy and dark. And I'm going to end with let me make sure I don't have okay. Oh yes, I want to show you these guns first, just because it's not unusual, but I've never seen anything like this. These are drone hunters, and basically this weapon is designed to shoot down unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. They're called EDM-44S Sky Sweeper. They're anti-drone rifles. So looks like something out of Star Wars. United States aircraft carriers deployed off the Korean Peninsula amid tensions with North Korea. Look for North Korea to do something between now and Friday, just to get everybody's attention, just to remind them that they can still screw the whole world up. Zelensky says Kyiv is taking chemical weapons threats seriously as Putin meets with Lukashenko. We talked about that. Here's the it was 23 hours ago. Now I was going to say, here's the first look. It was my first look at them meeting. Putin has purged over 100 of his FSB officers. That's basically the Secret Service. That's what used to be the KGB. Arresting many of them, including the head of their foreign unit, because of misinformation that led to them not having a success in Ukraine. They're the scapegoats, if you will. In my day, okay. One more feel-good thing. I don't think it has any sound, but okay. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't funny. Maybe it's just my sense of humor. But Facebook and Instagram. Moderators say Meta's content policies and enforcement mechanisms have enabled pro-Russian propaganda during the Ukraine invasion. So, again, you never know whose side who's on. I said earlier that we're going to have to remind a certain group of people that that Black Lives Matter still going to have to remind them, not that they matter still. We're still going to have to remind them. Just listen for a second.
Entered in the congressional record that we can now expose on that laptop. Here's what we do after that. We need to impeach Kamala Harris. Because you can't encourage and promote, raise money for criminal rioters and expect to serve the interests of the people, the great people in the United States.
The white people.
That is a conflict of interest entered in the
Okay. For those that don't know, Kamala Harris, a link to donate money to get bail for Black Lives Matter protesters in various locations. Okay.
До конца добивать нацистскую.
I wanted to make sure I had the subtitles on this.
А у нас в России патриотический консенсус, который звучит так. До конца добивать нацистскую гадину. Это, вот я себе представляю людей там, кто теперь эту мразь будет пытаться...
Я всегда сегодня обсуждаю.
Предаю тебя, Вовка Еленский, анафеме. Никакой ты не еврей. И никакой ты неверующий человек. Ты чистый, дешевый бес. Бес ты. И слуги твои. Мелкие бесы. Поэтому гнать тебя надо, а не переговариваться с тобой. Ты русскому православному воинству сейчас показал, что мы не только с нациками, мы с бесами воюем. Ваша сатанинская нацистская власть. Безбожный враг Украины.
Россия выведет все свои войска.
То есть лет через 50?
Да я не знаю.
А зачем нам выводить войска?
Я просто...
Для нас нет задачи сохранения вашего государства.
Сатана!
Поэтому ваша власть сатанинская. На что я могу сказать? Войны в российской армии. Работайте, братья.
Just remember our rules of propaganda when we see things like that, especially your enemy is evil, your enemy is the devil. They're literally saying that. And by the way, we started out talking about China and COVID and not vaccines, okay? Because that's not what China's pushing. Which again makes me really suspicious. But anyway, the anti-vaxxers are now saying that, well, one in Florida said Dr. Fauci put gay goop in my COVID vaccine. That was his explanation. He's a pastor, a Republican pastor. That was his explanation for getting caught with an underage boy in a gas station bathroom. But that one was kind of swept under the rug. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about gay goo yet because it came out of the wrong source. What they are saying is that the devil himself, Satan himself's DNA is in every one of the vaccines. So everybody that's vaccinated now has the devil's DNA, according to them. It's going to get really interesting. If something is going on in China, if there is a bad version, and I've heard about this Deltacron, where the Delta and the Omicron, it's as deadly as Delta was, and it's transmissible as Omicron has been, and just keeps getting more and more transmissible. People that aren't vaccinated, people are going to start dying. And I'm sorry, but I'm not happy about it. But, you know, at the moment, we've been talking about 1984. And we've been talking about 1984, the book by Orwell. War is peace, slavery is freedom, and ignorance is power are the things that are just repeated. They're repeated over and over and over and over and over to the people as part of the story in the book, so that the people accept that as long as we're at war, we're going to have peace. I don't know. Anyway, this is for those that are in the military. I'm cleaning it all out. I wasn't going to go this long tonight. I'm starting to, but I just want to clean this all out because I have the feeling we got some stuff coming over the next 3 days.
Доброго вечора, ми з України.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize it was a TikTok with music behind it. Okay, you see the explosion back here. There'll be another explosion right up in here. A plane is flying and dropping its ordnance. This guy's waiting until the plane gets directly in front of him. See the first explosion, second explosion. And then he downs the plane once it comes into range.
Party's going to be overthrown.
Some Republican Party politics, county party level.
Detroit News, I had a newspaper out there. The Detroit News and everybody has been saying how the county party is going to be overthrown at this convention.
No!
I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you something. Delegates, I got something to say. Let's hear it. This convention, they're going to make an overthrow of the party, and you have a right to know what this county party has done the last.
Sit down, losers!
They've been saying things like, shut up! We are not Republicans.
Traitors!
I'm going to stand here and I'm going to give a report for what this county party has done, or we're going to fight about it till 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's hear it. Don't put me against the wall.
This is how the bullies do it. You know, they scream you, shout you down. And these are doing it to Republicans. This lady right here is about to be called a rhino, R-I-N-O, Republican in name only. We mentioned that earlier in the episode.
Amen! Woo!
I will not be denied my constitutional rights of freedom of speech. They are telling us.
Shut up, what?
Well, isn't that interesting? This group, the board that you elected.
So anyway, not all is rosy in what used to be the party of Reagan. Okay, so the story I said we were going to end on, we are going to end on. This came out yesterday, and this is legitimate. From the desk of the ex-president and soon to be incarcerated Donald J. Trump. Today we celebrate National Pet Day, when all Americans give thanks for their pets. While many people know, Melania and I did not have any official pet in the White House during our 4 great years there. We did have a dog, and his name was Vice President Mike Pence. People say that the election was stolen from me. Mike Pence did not have the strength to do the right thing and overturn the election. Pence, therefore, is a dog and belongs on the street, hanging outside the home of Nancy Pelosi, eating whatever scraps she will feed him. This is the former president of the United States. Okay? I'm sorry, but we're better than this. Maybe we're not, but damn, we ought to be. Well, I thought Mike was my dog. He was the dog of liberals like Pelosi and the deep state. While I feed my pets Trump steaks, you don't have any pets. And Trump Steaks went bankrupt. It was one of your fraudulent businesses. While I feed my pets Trump steaks, the liberals and the corrupt media can feed Mike Pence Alpo dog food since he is weak. And whoever this unknown registered Democrat is that is making videos about me and the great MAGA supporters, they can eat Alpo too. He is not very smart. Somebody's making videos about Trump and about MAGA, and he's not happy with it. And he's not happy about Mike Pence. We just showed you what was going on in a county party meeting in Republican land. I know I'm going to send this to a lot of people. So, thank you for watching. It is an honor to be able to do this, and it's an honor that that you all stick around and watch, and greatly appreciated. We will be back tomorrow night, and I may have a special thing tomorrow afternoon. I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to get some rest. I've got to check a couple of things. So hopefully that'll be the case. I can get some sleep tonight, and we'll have a strong day tomorrow, because I have a feeling between now and Friday, some things are going to happen. And I wish you an absolute blessed night. No matter what your faith or lack thereof may be positive. Try to be a light. Try to do good in a world that is getting more and more exposed for the evil that is within it. And we can overcome that. Be not afraid. Be a light. I love you all. Thank you again for watching. This is News Done Different.